Please read the disclaimer. Today could be a very, very interesting day for the crypto market for XRP. Happy CPI day, everybody. We got a lot of news to talk about. I'm pulling up my sleeves because we got a lot to talk about here for the crypto market for XRP. Let's get into it. Currently, XRP is sitting at $1.35, down about 1% on the day. Bitcoin is sitting at 66,000. Ethereum under 2,000 level right now at 1,929. The crypto market pulled back last night or last afternoon, coming into this CPI day, which we'll talk about in just a second. Why it's so important, or why it could be so volatile, because it is CPI and because it is Friday. And so this could be a quote unquote double whammy. You'll see the AI thinks that as well. We have lots of news. Coinbase earnings are out, and the Ripple CEO got added to a very special list. You'll understand soon. All I ask from you is that you give me a beautiful smile, to send out those good vibes. Even when the market is down, we still give out those good vibes. Smishity smash that like button. You guys have been lacking over the past few days, right? Let's try to get 1,000 likes on this video. I know you can do it. Yes, you. I'm looking at you. Yes, you, mister or Mrs. It's only about 10% misses, but currently the extreme fear is still in single digits. I actually didn't ask the AI, but this must be one of the longest periods of time that the crypto market has been in extreme fear, under the level here. You can see previous times it dropped down for a second, maybe a day or two, but for a prolonged period of time. It's very rare. This is August of 2022, when we had the FTX crash. That makes sense, but right now there isn't really something bad that's happening in the crypto market, structurally. One might say that the thing that is the Clarity Act, and we talked about there is the March 1st deadline that the president gave here for them to get their stuff together and try to get this passed. We'll see in just a second what Coinbase CEO said in their earnings. And it's interesting, like a double-edged sword there for Coinbase. You'll understand soon. And so if we look at the price action right now, it's interesting because XRP, you could say it's maybe even a triple bottom, right? We talked about this, but it touched this area, this zone of 135, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5 times, basically the same zone that XRP has pulled back to this area. Similarly, right, Bitcoin did drop to this support zone here at 65,400, but has risen a little bit. And Ethereum, similar. So XRP is more consolidating here, but it did drop less, right? So on this sell-off here, Ethereum dropped 5%, whereas XRP dropped about 3.5%. So that's why it hasn't recovered that way, where Bitcoin and Ethereum dropped down a little bit more. So now they're recovering a little bit. If we look at the technical things, all the moving averages and everything now are giving us the sell signal. And if we look at the oscillators, we have neutral, buy, sell, and neutral, right? And historically, we know Ichimoku is the only one that is always neutral. If it ever says something else, it's going to be a holiday, right? No, but we know that whenever we see this all across the board, when we look back 2-3 months into the past, this is usually the bottom. Again, I don't know exactly how the market is going to play out and how things are going to play out. As always, this video is for educational purposes, for entertainment purposes only, not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence before you decide to invest. Very, very important. Also, remember that I will never contact you on social media asking you to sign up to anything or to send me anything. Those are scammers. Please be very careful. So I asked the Google AI, Gemini, I said, what has happened historically to the crypto market price action when CPI came out on Friday? So today we have CPI at, it's my time is 3:30 p.m. So -7, that's 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, right? And it answered, historically, a Friday CPI release is a rare double whammy event for the crypto market, because CPI usually drops on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. A Friday release, often caused by holidays or government delays, creates a high volatility bridge directly into the weekend. Remember that there's still the fear of the potential government shutdown. And we didn't talk about it, but there's also the fear of the Iran situation kicking off. So, all these things are creating fear, not just in the crypto market, but also in the stock market. Yesterday, the VIX went up over 20. Once again, we talked about that, how anytime it goes over 20, that's a signal that their things are getting a little bit bearish. Well, it went up 17, almost 18% last night. And you can see here that it's over 20. So that is something that we need to take into consideration as well. Here is what typically happens to price action during these specific setups: the weekend gap risk. When CPI drops on a Friday, the initial volatility occurs while institutional markets, CME, are still open. However, the subsequent digestion of the news happens over the weekend when traditional markets are closed. The trap: if CPI is hot, higher than expected, Bitcoin often sees a sharp Friday sell-off that continues into low liquidity weekend, making the moves more exaggerated because there are fewer bigger buyers to step in. CME gaps. This often creates a large gap on Bitcoin CME future charts, which traders almost always expect to be filled the following week. We've talked a lot about the CME gaps recently, right? And how historically they get filled. They get filled. It's, we kept saying every single time, well, maybe this time is going to be different, and it wasn't different. And so, I'm going to take advantage of this however I do. But, I've learned it. I've learned my lesson. Friday CPI releases often coincide with option expiry or the close of the weekly candle. Volatility amplification. If the data surprises the market, you often see a massive spike in liquidations within the first 30 to 60 minutes. And we have the DXY inverse move. Crypto typically moves in the exact opposite direction of the US dollar. On Friday, if the DXY rips upward due to high inflation, crypto traders often de-risk immediately to avoid holding a losing position over the weekend. And historically, price patterns. So while every macro environment is different, Friday releases usually follow one of the two scripts. You have cool CPI, lower than expected, so that would be good, right? Low inflation. A potential God candle, we get a pump. Continued short squeeze as traders FOMO in before Monday, so we could experience a short squeeze. Is it going to be the mother of all short squeeze? Probably not. But that could happen down the line if we do have shorts piling in. Hot CPI, higher than expected, flash crash, immediate dump, slow bleed, or sideways chop as liquidity dries up. That would be following through the weekend. And in line, we'd have the wick volatility both ways. Sometimes if it's in line, it goes up a little bit, then comes down a little bit, and then the market tries to process it. Prices usually return to the pre-release mean by Sunday. So if it's like in line, we'll probably see similar price action to what we've seen over the past few days. Nothing too crazy, and we'll probably consolidate here. Maybe jump between 143 and one. Where is it? I need my glasses. 134 respectively. That's what we'll probably see. Maybe even to 127, or maybe even, if we're lucky, to this area. And remember, 163, this area, we talked about how if XRP does rise to this area, it could be a very fast movement because shorts from the big sell-off that happened last Thursday have not closed. They're still in profit on their positions from this area. And if it starts getting into the red or is closer to this area, then we could potentially see a sharp movement to the upside. So again, we have to take into consideration all of these things. Let me know if you have not seen the CPI print just yet, right? Because I'll release this about 3 hours before, but if it already came out, don't ruin it for everybody. What do you think the CPI print is going to be? Do you think it's going to be in line? Do you think it's going to be higher than expected or lower than expected? While you're dropping your comments and checking, just double checking that you smashed the like button, I'm going to drink some coffee here to lubricate my throat. I like my coffee black and strong, like I like my. So yeah, my wife is half Moroccan, half Iraqi. Anywho, Binance completes RLUSD integration on XRP Ledger Network, enabling users to deposit with withdrawals opening once sufficient liquidity is reached. So RLUSD is now on Binance, and you didn't see what I was looking at. Technical difficulty time, right? Um, President Trump also said that he's planning to scale back tariffs on steel and aluminum goods. Or if you are from the UK, aluminium, right? And so we'll potentially see what is going to happen with the tariffs, because also the United States signed a trade deal with Taiwan, cutting tariffs to 15%. In return, Taiwan will remove 99% of trade barriers on the US and purchase 84 billion worth of American goods. So these are a lot of good headlines. And again, the market's still freaked out because of things that have more weight. If back maybe a year ago, tariffs was a big thing, right? And any tariff news would make the market rattle a little bit. Right now, this news, it's good, but it's not enough for the algos to trigger. It's not enough for things to start happening, right? And remember, the algos, they're scraping all the information, they're scraping all the data. And who's ever telling them to scrape is giving them specific parameters and telling them, okay, if it's something from Trump or if it's from this list, and the AI is also understanding a lot more than it has done before. So it's understanding what is the scale of this news, how much is it affecting the market, and then it's deciding how to trade. Day trading is becoming super hard because of all the AI that is trading right now. Before it was just bots, but now the bots, the algorithms, they're becoming dynamic, they're coming smarter, they're fixing problems, they're fixing maybe there's the bug in the algorithm, or there's something that could be better in the algorithm, they're tweaking it, right? So we're going into a totally different level, from algorithm trading. Story time, right? Wait, I have to do the jingle. Story time. About 15 years ago, maybe even more, maybe 20 years ago. Yeah, even 25 years ago, when I was about 15. Wow, I'm so old already. My dad was doing a lot of day trading, and he told me that he felt a certain shift because suddenly it seemed that there were more algos that were trading. And back then it was simple algos. It wasn't the same as today, but there already was people writing code and people were creating algos. And he said that before that, it was much easier to day trade. But he seen suddenly that the things were getting so volatile because of the algos. And there was suddenly a shift in like 1 year that people started using the algos. And he started scaling back because of that. Well, now we're used to it already. This is our normal. I wonder how was it back in the day to day trade when you didn't have crazy wicks or algos that were hunting stop losses, or algos that were hunting liquidations and all kinds of things like that, where you see sometimes you'll see a position go down and the wick will go down up and then it will come back up, right? And this is not a trader, this is an algo. Or you'll have a position, right, that you open up and you have a stop loss or you have a liquidation point and it goes all the way to your liquidation point and it comes back up, right? These are the algos. They are trained and they're looking for this in the order book. And so, it's become very, very hard to do day trading. But if that's what your heart desires, I have scaled back significantly just my day trades because it's especially now where my wife is out for a few weeks because of the surgery. But even before, it takes a lot of capacity, it takes a lot of bandwidth. And if you're doing, swing trades or long-term investing, it's a lot easier on your which side's the heart here. It's easier on this guy. I'm getting 40. I need less stress, right? I need when you live in a country where in a minute you can have ballistic missiles falling on you, right? You need less stress. And so, I'm scaling back a little bit just on my day trading because it's not good for my health. I haven't had any bad results or anything like that, but I just feel like I need it. This was very interesting, right? Coinbase unexpectedly reports larger quarterly loss, posting a quarterly EPS of minus almost $2.50 per share compared to expectations of 0.96. The company posted a net loss of 666 million last quarter. My sons would have loved this, the 6-7. This is interesting. And is it self-made? Meaning because what they did and the fact that they pulled out of the Clarity Act hurt them, right? Less volume, prices are down, less interest, or was it already going to be like that anyway? Listen, if we would have continued the pump in January and the markets would have rallied off of that, and Bitcoin would have gotten back to 100,000 and Ethereum close to 4,000, XRP pumped back to, maybe $3 range, then I think there would have been a lot more interest, right, in the crypto market because people would be like, wow, it just went up X%, triple digits, oh my God, right? That's what we would potentially be seeing articles in the TV that are talking about, the movements and not about the sell-offs. And so then potentially we would have had a better situation, just from their point of view. Now we've seen in the past few days, not just Coinbase, but also Robinhood, dropped down significantly, and we talked about that. But what was interesting was that their aftermarket, right? And I don't know why it's not showing now the extended hours, but it did here. It didn't really drop down. You can see it dropped down 7.9% prior, but when the earnings came out, it didn't really. It kind of went up a little bit at one point, and then leveled out. And Robinhood also dropped down and has been dropping down for the past few weeks. Also, like very similar to Bitcoin, price action, similar, right? When did it start? Around December 10th, right? Was when things really started going sour. December 10th. So it's actually a little bit before that. Even before, right, crypto started dropping, Robinhood started dropping here. But as we got to mid-January, it started, coming down. Now, because a lot of the revenue was supposed to come for Coinbase, of course, right? Also for Robinhood from the crypto market. And Coinbase CEO says, I'm confident we can, this is actually on the earnings, right? This is from the earning report as well. And he says, I'm confident we can achieve a market structure win-win that advances the president's crypto agenda while addressing the concerns of the banks. Our focus throughout will be to advocate for what's best for crypto users. We're all in. We're the first ones fighting for market structure before it was popular, and we're staying at the table. Genius Act passed 6 months ago, and now it's being relitigated. That deeply impacts our customers. So this is something that they're afraid of that could potentially happen, is the clarity might pass, but then it's going to be relitigated and it's going to be reopened and they're going to take it to the Supreme Court and it's not going to be in effect. And so that's an issue, right? Coinbase attended both recent White House meetings and the crypto industry is aligned. We're making good progress towards reaching a win-win between the White House, banks, and crypto, and we'll keep advocating for what's best for crypto users, especially core consumer benefits like rewards. So we'll see what potentially happens with that. And on that note, we have, of course, Monica Long, president of Ripple, saying coming off XRP Community Day and reflecting on the progress made toward making XRPL the go-to blockchain for institutional DeFi. Another big win as one of the UK's largest asset manager moves fund on chain. And we talked about that Aviva deal, right? But actually, I wanted to jump to this. There was a little bit of a technical difficulty there. But Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse among crypto leaders appointed to the CFTC Innovation Committee. And you can see as far as committee goes, this is Olympic of crypto roster. And you can see the roster here, all the who's schmooze of the crypto market, Coinbase CEO, Polymarket, AU16Z, CEO of the CME Group, Ripple CEO, FanDuel President, Bitnomial CEO, Kalashi, Crypto.com, Grayscale, Chainlink, Everybody, DraftKings, Kraken, Blockchain.com, Robinhood CEO, Gemini CEO, Solana Lab CEO. So everybody's here. And so they're going to be, you can see the Trump admin has tapped leading CEOs in crypto, finance, prediction markets, and more for a brand new government advisory committee. Coinbase CEO, President, Coinbase's CEO, Robinhood CEO, Polymarket CEO are among the 35 names. So this is going to be a big deal here, and they'll try to push forward narratives that are pro crypto, that are good for the crypto market. It's always better to be at the table and not outside the table. And again, think about this, right? Let's contemplate again. A year and a half ago, this wouldn't have been happening, right? On the second timeline, right? If Trump would have lost the election, this wouldn't be happening. Now, again, we're not going to get into would it be better for the America or not, but just for crypto market, I'm putting my blinders on just for the crypto market. It would have continued the same thing that was happening right before. It was the same administration, basically. And so what's happening now wouldn't be happening. All the things that were maybe you could say detrimental to the crypto market would be continuing to happening. All these good things, all the laws, all these panels, all these innovation committees, all the things that they're trying to do, the Bitcoin reserve, dropping all the cases, the SEC dropping all the cases, trying to look for innovation, trying to create, trying to promote, right? All this wouldn't be happening. So when I look at the fear and greed index and I look at the price action, I'm like, it doesn't connect. And I'm pretty sure that in a year from now, I'm going to look back and I remember making these videos in February of 2026. And I'll say to myself, I remember, same way I remember making the videos in 2022 when we were at the bottom of FTX. And I was saying, hey, this is, an amazing opportunity. And some people listened and some people didn't. And again, at the end of the day, it's up to you. And you have to decide, what you want to do now and how you want to, react to the current situation. Well, this came out. VanEck just told the world on CNBC that 13 countries are mining Bitcoin at the central government level, not ETFs, not regulations, actual hash rate. And so 13 countries that are now mining crypto are mining Bitcoin. These things, if you look and you say, oh, well, when we were in 2021 and Bitcoin was at 64,000 or 68,000, like where we are now, was the situation the same or worse for the crypto market, right? And when you think about that, you can look at XRP, but XRP, again, its price is a little bit wonky because of the whole situation, right? But XRP's price was about 186. So it actually was higher at the peak of April of 2021. But is the situation better now or worse for XRP? It's much better, right? Think about it. It dropped all the way to 30 cents because of what was going on with the SEC. And of course, the market was dropping. But that was, a whammy. Well, now XRP doesn't have any of that. And yet we're at extreme fear and people are fearful and people are selling off. So we're now at $1.35. Who knows where we'll be in 1 year? Maybe we'll be higher, maybe we'll be lower. But I'm confident that we're going to be in a better situation. Price action, again, it depends how much people are buying or selling. And you have to look at it. Okay, I own 1 million XRP. I own 1,000 XRP. That's the XRP. Don't look, it's hard, but you have to try not to look at it as its dollar worth or its euro worth or your drachma worth, right? Because if you're thinking about using XRP as a currency in the future, then you're going to be paying XRP. You're going to be paying Bitcoin. But that's the problem right now. Most people look at crypto as a asset and not as a currency. And maybe that will change in the future. Maybe it won't. That's going to be a very, very important tipping point for the crypto market. Which way does it go? Does it go left or right? Does it go, or is it the red pill or the blue pill? And that's going to be very interesting. We'll see. That could affect the end game for the crypto market. And also tokenization. Like things are shifting. And who knows with the AI, like what's going to happen in 2-3 years? I don't know. Maybe we'll be living in the metaverse by then. Remember that? When everybody was so hyped up on the metaverse and Google changed their name to Facebook changed their name to Meta. Nobody talks about that anymore. What's going on with that? When are we moving into the metaverse? I already bought my my seat in the metaverse, like in Wally. It's a good movie. Thank you for watching. Drop a comment in the comment section, 8 for infinity and beyond. Did you smash the like button? Did we get to 1,000 likes? Now's the time to check if you did. It's very, very important. Oh, this can also hype up. There's the hype. Don't you know? Hype it up. So that's a possibility for some people in some regions. So check that out if you are interested as well. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.